Next, we're going to recognize Chris Andrews. Chris has been coaching high school for 21 seasons. His current record is 518 wins. He's been a head coach for 21 years, been district coach of the year 10 times, has been regional coach of the year twice, Greater Kalamazoo coach of the year 3 times, 6 conference titles, 10 district titles, 2 regional titles, and a state runner-up in 2015, and a state championship game this year. I was talking to him on the phone yesterday. We were discussing things, and we got to talking about his players pitching for U of M and talking about how great an experience that is. And then I found out there's more kids, and just an impressive coach. I try to emulate my program to look like his program because he does such a great job of bringing the community together, the family stuff. It's on Facebook. If you ever want to see something that's a great thing going on in high school baseball, check out their page from their high school baseball program because it is top-notch, first-class, awesome stuff. Coach.
All right. Thank you, Scott. First off, the guy videotaping right there is the man responsible for all that great social media and video. So Tom Saladicki, who's doing the video here tonight, that's the guy right there. Wow, it's been a good year to be a Portage Northern Husky, I can tell you that. It's been quite the whirlwind. But first of all, I want to thank the MHSBCA board for this distinguished honor. These guys are my friends and mentors. I've learned so much from them through the years that I've been working with them, so thank you first and foremost to them. Next thing, I want to thank my wife, and she is the main reason I'm able to stand up here and receive this honor. She has been the ultimate support system for me. She has sacrificed, I don't know how many hours, spending all that time taking care of our family, so I could be out there doing the work I needed to with this coaching job. Not only that, but she comes to every game, unless she is at one of our kids' games or they need to be taken somewhere. Again, can't thank her enough. I want to thank my parents for always believing in me and supporting me in everything I have done. I want to thank my dad, who is here tonight, for always being there for me and providing the support and guidance. Anything I needed, he was always there for me. Especially guiding me to become a coach and a father. And when it came to sports, he always made sure I had what I needed. I was going to maybe cut this story out because I know, I want to be cognizant of the time. But since, Coach Blakely there is so funny, I thought I'd tell this quick story because I think it's funny. But when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. I didn't always have the nicest things. Well, my high school baseball coach, John Huizinga, who's in the Hall of Fame, he came up to me one day and he said, hey, Chris, I think you should have a nice baseball glove. You're a pretty good player. I had some plastic, knockoff mitt from J.C. Penney. And he said, you should get yourself an A2000, Wilson A2000. I'm like, okay, and how much do those cost? And he's like, yeah, right around $100. I said, will you tell my dad that? So he said, sure, no problem. So my dad came to practice, and I said, Dad, Coach wants to talk to you. So my coach called my dad over and said, hey, you need to get your son one of these mitts here. And he's a good player. He needs a really nice mitt. And so he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, how much do they cost? And he's like, $100. My dad's like, okay. So, we walk away, and I'm like, what do you think, Dad? And he's like, yeah, I'll get it for you, but whatever you do, don't tell your mother. So with that said, my wife has always said to me, don't you dare use that with our kids. So I've tried to avoid that. But thank you, Dad, for everything you've done for me. I want to thank my in-laws, Bob and Pat Grove, who are also here tonight, for supporting me and making sure our kids are taken wherever they need to be when we're not able to. I also need to thank my kids, Gannon, Braden, Rylan, and Kaylani, for understanding that when Dad isn't always around, he's gone coaching and helping other kids, and yet they never complain about it. I also want to thank my administrators who've always stood by my side and allowed me to coach the way I needed to coach. I want to thank all my coaches that have worked with me, especially Don Ampersey, who is here tonight. This guy is the greatest assistant coach you could ever ask for. He coached for many years at our rival school, Portage Central, and when their coach stepped down, he stepped down with them, and I was able to, a couple years later, talk him into coming and coaching with me, and wow, what a game changer for me and our program. So thank you, Amp. Talking about having good assistants, along with the theme that the other coaches talked about, you have to have good people working for you, and I was fortunate to spend a little bit of time with Lloyd Carr. If those of you that remember, he was the football coach at Michigan for years. He was at a football game I was coaching to recruit TJ Duckett. We went back to the locker room after the game, and our head coach had taken the team into the locker room and kind of closed the door, and Coach Carr is standing out there. He's like, "Hey, I got to go to the bathroom. Is there a bathroom nearby?" I said, "Sure, let me take you to the baseball locker room." So I'm walking him down to the bathroom, and I'm thinking, gosh, I have Lloyd Carr right here. I should probably sound intelligent or smart or ask him something. I don't know. I don't want to, just look dumb. And so I just said, "Hey, Coach Carr, what kind of advice could you give somebody that's just starting out a program?" I'm like 25 years old at the time. And he, without skipping a beat, just right away, he said, "Hire good people." He said the key to any good organization is you have good people working for you. It's all about the people. So I'll never forget that lesson. I've always made sure I surround myself with good people, just as the other coaches have mentioned, and I've been fortunate to have those with me. So again, thanks to all the coaches that have worked with me. Anyway, this award, very humbling for me, as I feel as though I still have a long way to go yet in my career. Being in the company of all these great coaches in the state of Michigan, coaching this sport has allowed me to develop so many great relationships with so many people. Probably most importantly, all the players that I have coached over all these years. I can't believe how many former players have sent me well wishes just this past week for winning the state championship. I've never gotten so many messages, not to mention all the messages I'm getting about the excitement of my former players, Tommy Henry and Ben Kaiser, who are having the success at Michigan while they're on their run to the College World Series. It really all comes back to the relationships you form with the people involved, not the wins and losses. That was a lesson my high school coach, John Heisinger, who I already mentioned, who is a Hall of Famer, he taught me when I was a player. I always remember him telling me that. It's about the relationships. If I had to answer the question, what is the highlight of my career? It's probably being able to coach my own son, Gannon, and what an experience it was winning a state championship with him as our catcher. That kid grew up in my dugout, and now he's a team captain, an honor student, an all-state player, a state champion, and he will be going on to play baseball in college after he plays for me one more year. And all that I just said obviously makes me a proud dad and a coach. I do want to give this message to the players that are here tonight, as this is a lesson that I have learned being a coach. Never stop learning and try to get better. When people ask me what is the secret to your success, there is not a simple, easy answer. The best advice I can give is to figure out what you want to accomplish and then reverse engineer a plan. Start with where you want to end up and then work backwards to accomplish it. For example, many years ago I wanted to have the best baseball program in the state of Michigan. So I started to study the programs that were the best, which was a lot of these guys right here. And I figured out what they were doing to accomplish the success that they had had. I started stealing ideas and implementing them myself. I even stayed 3 days in Houston, Texas at Bel Air High School with arguably the best high school baseball coach in the country, Rocky Manuel, where I watched what he did and asked him tons of questions. I remember saying, if he can win state and national championships, then so can I. That is where the hard work comes in for the plan that you engineer. You need to work your butt off and stay with your plan. Expect to make modifications when you learn better ways. So in summary, surround yourself with good people, work like crazy, never stop learning, keep things in perspective, and focus on the process, not the outcome, and I believe you can accomplish your goals. It took me 19 years at Portage Northern to accomplish my goal of winning a state championship, but more important than that is the season that I feel like I've formed the best relationships I ever had with my players. And that is something I want to continue to develop no matter the wins or losses. So again, thank you to the MHSBCA board and to everyone that has helped me accomplish this great honor. Thank you.
Goals, goals, goals. You heard it right there. That's what that was about. Next inductee is Dave Van Ord. Dave started his career at Lakewood High School in 1991. He took the job at Hudsonville and been there ever
Quick,
since.
so just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Tell me how this feels. What
This
this
is
night is like.
just part of the whirlwind, man. This is awesome. Obviously, it's a little bit odd because my career's not over. Usually, you think Hall of Fame career is over, but it's the way they do it, and I'm just grateful. Like I mentioned, being with all these guys that are in the Hall of Fame and learning from them, it's just it's helped me become a better coach, and that's what it's about. It's about the process and the players and the relationships. So it's awesome.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You are in the Hall of Fame and you deserve it.
All right, thank you very much.